So you want to get into cybersecurity or cloud or networking, and you always seem to start, but then you stop and then you start again. Well, have no fear. In this video, I'm going to go over how you can study for technical things, and not only just how to memorize, but also how to select what to actually study, how to set goals to be successful. This is the most important part. What the most effective learning strategies are, how to keep track of all of this knowledge, so a personal knowledge management system, and this is what I wish I had when I first started. Don't skip this section. And also how to build projects and show your work. I have timestamps for each one of these sections if you want to go check that out. I have had tons of various jobs in the IT world, and I've had to learn really quickly. And also I've had so much data that I have felt so overwhelmed, and I've spent tons of time just studying for the wrong things. And this video synthesizes all of my mistakes into one video. One thing to know when you're trying to learn technical things is that it's much like building a house. You're not going to build a house overnight. It takes many years to gain mastery, just like in any field. However, you can build a framework enough to get you a job, which is really the only thing you need right now. You just need to get a job that can support you while you learn other things. First, you're going to need the foundation, then you're going to need the sticks, or whatever they're called. Then you're going to need the side paneling and then the roof, and then you're going to have to do all the drywall, and then you're just going to have to do the carpet and then add landscaping, and then you're going to furnish it with couches. And like 20 years in, you're cleaning the grout the last 20 years that kind of like accumulated. You just need to build the foundation and get the sticks up, and then you're good. And that's kind of just the analogy I like when it comes to learning about tech. Just get that concrete down, get that frame, aka sticks, down. The first step you're going to have to do is going to be building the blueprint. So what exactly do you need to learn? This is probably the most overwhelming part, because you're going to get overwhelmed and you're just going to have so much information and so many people telling you different things. You just don't know, right? So you have to keep your goal in mind. Your goal should be to get a job in tech. It's not just to become a hobbyist. This isn't for hobbyists, so I would change video somewhere else. This is just to get a job. So what you're going to do to figure out what you should learn in the first place is you're going to go to Indeed or Glassdoor, and you're going to type in the job title that you want. For this example, I'm going to do a cybersecurity analyst. What you're going to see is you're going to see the skills required, the experience required, and it's going to say things like Active Directory, SQL, maybe some basic Python, some basic Linux, 1 to 3 years of experience, and that's it. And you're going to keep on doing this, and you're going to build a database of skills that keep on reoccurring. And this is going to give you the framework for what you should be learning. You don't need to learn everything about C++. If you're going for a cybersecurity analyst job, that'd be a huge waste of time. You don't need to know everything about A+ if you want a cybersecurity analyst job, because you're going to notice in these job titles, it doesn't specifically say A+. So you're wasting your time in a way. You just need to get a job as quickly as possible. And the best way to do that is figure out the skills you need to do, and then you're going to need to acquire them. You have your 4 to 5 skills. Now you're going to select online courses to go through them. I wouldn't start making projects right away, because that's kind of skipping the concrete and just going straight to putting on the doors to the house. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but you understand what I mean, I hope. So pick out some online courses. Also below, I have links to commonly requested courses and really good quality material if you want to check some of those out. It's also a great way to explore different topics in cybersecurity. You can also look at my intro to cybersecurity careers to give you some new ideas about what exists out in the world. So once you have your list of 4 to 5 skills you need to learn, along with how you're going to learn them, so online courses, or maybe you decided to go to a degree program, I have some videos on that if you want to check those out. Or maybe you just like are gonna self-learn it through a book, which I don't really suggest, but if you want to do it, go for it. Then you're going to want to set goals. This is by far the most important part, because without goals or a direction or a time limit, you're just gonna kind of be wandering around. Like imagine if a builder of a house was just like, I don't really care when this is done, just as it's done sometime. Maybe you're just sailing around and you're like, I don't really know where I'm going or when I want to be there. I'm sure it can be pleasant, but you might run out of money. And so you need to set goals. Unless you have unlimited money, you probably shouldn't be here. You should be going out sailing in the Bahamas. The best way to set goals is called SMART, and this stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Say you want to learn how to become a cybersecurity analyst. Well, you want to be specific. So why is the goal important? Well, you need money you need career fulfillment, maybe you need to improve your dating prospects. I don't know why, but you need to know your why. I want to become a cybersecurity analyst so I can feel the excitement of broadening my dating prospects. So that would be specific. Now you're going to go into measurable. Now, what measures this progress that you're making? And this is why courses and degrees and certification are actually really valuable, because it lets you gauge where you are. So say you get a degree, you know you have somewhat competence in that. If you're not measuring it, you have no idea where you are. You're like, I think I'm okay. I don't know, maybe. The next one is achievable. Your goal needs to be realistic. You're not going to do this in a week or even a month. I would say at least 6 months to gain a good competence of all of the fields of hard work. This isn't just 1 to 2 hours a week. You're going to be needing to put in 10 to 15 hours a week for 6 months to gain a competence in what you're doing. In 6 months, honestly, really isn't even that long, seeing as degrees take 4 years, but you also have to take in constraints that you may have, such as children, your spouse, financial constraints, maybe you're really stressed, maybe you're on unemployment and you have tons of time. You're gonna have to take this into consideration. It will be different for everybody. Be aware of setting goals that are on other people. Say, once my spouse tells me that I'm competent, then I'll be competent. That requires kind of like the power of someone else. You want to stay away from that being your measure of achievement. Next part to setting effective goals is relevant. Is it worthwhile for you? If it's not worthwhile, you're really not going to do it in your life. So say you just want to become a cybersecurity analyst because you don't know why. Well, then that's a terrible reason. You just don't know why. Is it the right time for you? Maybe you don't want to become an analyst for another 10 years. Then this is not the right time for you. So you have to make sure it's relevant, this goal of yours, to your current life. Is it time bound? This also goes off of Parkinson's law, that the amount of time you allot something, it will actually expand to. It's not going to take you 4 years to gain a competency in cybersecurity, to gain a job, or to learn cybersecurity. You do need to set a time limit. And I would say 6 months is a good time limit. I wouldn't say 4 or 2. 6 months is good enough to learn the base, get your concrete down, those sticks on the house. Once you have exactly what you're going to learn, you have your goals in place. Now you're actually going to want to use effective learning strategies to actually learn these technical things. And this is actually based on Make It Stick, and you can see that here. And it goes off of active recall, interweaving, and spaced repetition. And these 3 things are the most effective tools when learning. Trust me, this comes from someone who has read the book and reread the book, and I really couldn't even grasp like what exactly it was saying. You really want to use active recall. So if you read something, quiz yourself on what exactly you read. And a lot of courses have this actually built in. So say the Coursera courses, I have a link below. Coursera is a great place to start, and I take their courses, and I have some reviews if you want to check that out. It'll quiz you, and then it'll also have you go through the exercises, also spaced repetition with the challenges and the quizzes that they have. Rereading the book is completely useless. So keep that in mind. So you could check out Ali Abdaal's course on Skillshare. I'll also have the link below if you want to learn more about how to master exams and learn things effectively. While going through, you're really going to want to build a framework of what you're learning. For instance, networking is a lot like how the Postal Service works. And if you can correlate these 2 conceptual ideas and then relate them, you'll have a much better understanding of exactly what is going on. This is very valuable, as it's really hard to learn technical knowledge without anchoring it to something else, because it's so abstract that you're like, I have no idea. Especially when beginning, I feel for you if you're just beginning learning IT and wanting to get in the field, because it's so much information that it can be cryptic. And then people have curse of knowledge. So basic things that they know, like you just don't know. You're like, what? So you're missing this information. It's just completely overwhelming. And that goes into my step 4, which is a personal knowledge management, aka building a second brain. I just took a course from Tiago Fort on this. It's absurdly expensive. So this was an extremely valuable course because it taught me about personal knowledge management. And this is something you're going to need to do in your career, because you're going to have so much information and you're going to continuously forget that and then have to relearn it, say 5 years later. If you look here in my second brain, you're going to see that I have an area and it has technical knowledge, and within this area I have it like broken down into different subsections of IT. So I have cybersecurity, and within that there's web application firewalls, I have networking, and within that there are different ones. I also have courses that I have taken and what I have extracted from those. Just to keep all of this in my brain would be insane. Don't do that. If you're starting and you're fresh from cybersecurity, and you're just new, make sure to set up personal knowledge management and start taking notes now. It will be the deciding factor between your success and not success in the IT field, because you'll just get burned out if you don't take notes. This step 5 is now you're going to want to build projects to solidify what you have been learning. Once you have gotten all of your theory knowledge, that foundation up, you got those sticks up, now you're going to be wanting to put on the drywall by doing projects. This is the most important part because this is also what's going to build your resume. A certification and a degree look all right, but if you can show an employer actually what you've done and that you can do it, this is the most valuable, as it increases trust with you and your employer, and they're more likely to hire you even if you're not qualified as maybe some other candidates. Remember, you just need an employer to trust you. Also, making YouTube videos on what you're learning would be extremely useful. Hint, or posting on GitHub, or doing things of that sort, depending on which cybersecurity career that you want to go into. So I know a lot of also the Coursera courses, they actually have projects at the end of them, and then that is actually building portfolios and doing like automation projects, which is extremely useful. Automation, if cybersecurity automation, you can check that out below. I have some guided projects. This also gets your hands dirty to see if you actually want to do the technical work, or if you just want to do the paperwork, or maybe you just want to work with people. And this will help you explore your boundaries. And that concludes my how to learn technical things. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.